Hey, hi Abhinav. Sorry for the delayed due to the technical glitch. There was a delay in like 4 minutes before we could begin. Abhinav, are we audible to all of you all? Could you please tell a hi or a hello, so that we are confirmed that we are visible and audible to all of you all?
Hi, Ripple. Can you please confirm if we are audible to you?
Okay, I think we are getting a yes. Before we could just begin, I think we have more people to join in. We'll have a quick short home tour video and we will be back. Abhinav, I would request you to kindly come back onto the screen. Okay, yeah. So, hello all. A very warm good evening to one and all. I am your host for the day. That's Grishma Bangera. And we have Abhinav Gupta, who would be the speaker for the day. Going forward, for all the newbies here, what is Bonito Discover? So, Bonito Discover is a platform where we share knowledge. It's a knowledge gaining platform regarding home interiors where we educate you about the nooks and crooks about interior design. So not wasting more time, I know due to the technical glitch, we did lose like 4-5 minutes over there. I would just like to read Abhinav's bio so that I do not go wrong with it. So Abhinav Gupta's expertise in creating high-end home interior solutions in Delhi started 15 years ago. His design style pays close attention to finer details to make home interiors functional. Owing to his experience, his current project focuses on putting together modern house plans that cater to a variety of size and budget requirements. So let's join Abhinav, who would be talking about kitchen appliances for functionality and style. And also, just to inform you all, the video that we played was currently by Bonito Designs. I hope you all enjoyed watching the video. Also, this program of Bonito Discover is brought to you by Bonito Designs, which is an interior design firm located at HSR, Bangalore. I request you, Abhinav, to kindly take over from here, not wasting more time of all.
Thank you, Grishma. Thanks for a lovely introduction also. So, hi peeps, hi guys, thanks for joining in. So to start with, I have come across of many clients who have been like getting their home design and much keen and much concerned about the area called kitchen for their homes. Okay, so to be specific more about kitchen, we definitely do understand that kitchen is a specific area of the home which requires a lot of attention. And nowadays, when we are having hundreds of materials, hundreds of finishes available with us, there are indeed awesomely beautiful availability about the finishing and the materials and the color shades. We need to understand about about the ladies of the home. Who are going to work in those kitchens. Are we providing them the right support, right help about for what they are going to do work with? Okay, this is something which is crucially important to understand, so that it will be equally helpful for them also to make good food at the right time and with the right help also. They should not feel a kind of clumsy, cumbersome in the kitchen space. I have designed a lot of kitchens which are having not a much big space, but even then they were efficient enough to provide a food for 7 to 8 people even by a single performer. Okay, the lady. We need to think about it that, and for that only, with that only, I will be going to help you out with. Today, our agenda will be like the same thing, that how we should actually choose the right supports, the right help for the lady who is going to perform in the kitchen. Okay, that is equally important. This is the today's agenda. So I would like to introduce you with the agenda of the today's session, that how we should actually choose our appliances for the kitchen in the right manner, so that they should be providing a correct help in the form of performing in the kitchen. So my session will be containing these main contents of the today's presentation, that what are the appliances which are required mandatorily in any of the kitchen. That is number one. Other than that, we will be going forward with the secondary appliances that may be or may not be included in the kitchen depending upon the lifestyle and the requirement. And after that, we will be going ahead with additional appliances. After that, the placement of correct functioning. This is something which is equally very important to understand, because placement means the correlation between the appliances, the different appliances, how they are correlated and how we are required to place them in a correct manner, so that we can go ahead with using them with the right efficiency. And that will be going to save a lot of time for the person who is actually working in the kitchen. Along with that, it would be also helpful for them to be safe enough while dealing with a lot of hot things and even with the flame sometimes. So this is crucially important to understand, like the importance of the correct placement of those in any sort of manner. And last but not least, which is actually a very important terms, what I understand from the experience I am having like with the clients, we should be always aware about the correct brand selection as well. So we will talk about them in detail further. To start with the mandatory appliances. So if I go ahead with, there is a unit called hob. So mandatory, let's talk about them also. I have already categorized them in the image in a manner so that it will be easier for all of us to understand better. That the white kitchen is actually presenting the wood part, and the gray part is actually presenting you with the appliances units. So let's talk about them in detail. What basic first unit is hob, which is very mandatory. So what do you understand by the hob? When we talk about hob is basically a cooktop. To be more precise, or to be, you can say, more familiar name with, when we talk about this unit, this is mandatorily required. There is no kitchen possible without a cooktop or a cooking range or a hob. And after that comes a chimney, the another partner of the hob. Okay, this is also equally required, because right nowadays we are not having open kitchens, or you can say a kitchen in a veranda or a sort of very well ventilated area. We have to have chimney to get all the odors, cooking odors out of the space, and to also provide the correct amount of clean air in the kitchen. And after that, oven comes in. Oven has actually become an integral part of the kitchen now due to our lifestyle only. We'll talk about them in detail. After that, refrigerator comes, and after that, water purifier. No doubt about that, water purifier is definitely required along other than refrigerator. Let's move to hob. So, what we call a hob. Hob is certainly a name which is not very much common with a day-to-day client, and they generally tends to call it a cooktop or a cooking range. So let me tell you, guys, hob and cooktop, they both are different entities. They are not a same entity, to be talk to more precise. When we talk about a cooktop and when we talk about a hob, so there are two different entities. I have actually resourced these images only for the better understanding. So what we understand, cooktop is basically a unit which has been placed over the countertop. Okay, so this is a very important to understand part. The cooktop is something which can be arranged. It is a sort of a portable unit. It does not require any sort of specialized installation sort of things. We just need to simply attach it to the gas pipeline, and that's all it is done. And after that, we have number of options into that. That some these regulators are like they are self switching on. They are self sparking also, and they are the cooktops which comes with the simple lighter option. You need to have a manual lighter with them to light them up. And after that, when we comes to hob is something that is requiring installation. You can not move them even up to an mm. You cannot move up to mm once they are fixed. So these hobs are required to be installed only by the professionals, only by the technicians who are specialized into this. I will definitely suggest you to get them installed only from the same manufacturer from whom you are getting it. So the company persons only will be installing it. That will be done in a right manner. After that, when we go forward, we need to understand how to basically decide upon either we require cooktop or a hob. This is a very crucial question for any of the customer, any of the user. We need to understand that hobs are basically, so if let's suppose in our cooking style, if we have a food habit of, like generally Indians, we as an Indian have a habit of having boiled milk, okay? And we always are used to cook lentils also. So these sort of things, the boiling things, tends to get spillover, tends to get actually leaked out from the pressure cookers and all those. Okay, so we need to understand that in case of these hobs, when food gets spilled out or overspilled, there is a limitation of the spilling. Okay, it will actually going to get inside the tray, which is going to get into the under the countertop. This is something which is very difficult to clean. Okay, we need to understand such kind of things. If we are having such kind of lifestyle, we need to discuss about these possibilities and these repercussions in details with the seller so that we can understand. And we always need to understand about the side effects also. So, okay, if the food is actually remaining or retaining into under this hob countertops, so it actually tends to get develop a bacteria and algae also. So that is definitely not at all good for our health. So we require to pay attention to such kind of details before selecting the hobs. And another factor which I have come across many times, generally people are asking for more number of burners. Even if they are having a smaller space, they tends to ask that I want a cooktop or a hob with at least 4 burners. So we should always try to understand the fact that if there is a family of 4 person, let's say, but the cooking person who is cooking the food actually is only one. He is not going to increase by 1 or 2. Okay. So we need to understand the fact that even if we are getting 4 burners in the hob or a cooktop, the person cannot deviate or distribute his mind into 4 different places to concentrate upon. He or she will only be able to understand and to take over maximum 2 burners at a time if they are performing at the very same time. Okay, so we need to understand how we should, if you want to actually fast forward our process of cooking, we should understand it in a different way. Increasing the number of hobs will not going to sort it out for us, but what is going to help us out with that? Okay, so this is my next slide, which is actually going to help you out with. This is called intensity of burner. Okay, so if you take this example, we have two, let's see the first pair of the image, the brass burners on the left side of the slide. The above burner is having, in total there is one inner line of the holes, and other than that there are two line of holes. So in total we are having 3 lines. But if we see the below one, it is having 1 plus 3, it is having 4 lines. Let's understand it much better from the right side of the images. It is having one flame line. Okay, the flame line is only one in the above burner. But if we see the below burner, it is having 2 flame lines. So it is definitely having a higher intensity. Same happens in this case also. So higher intensity burners are something which we should actually emphasize upon while taking a hob if we require faster quick cooking. Okay, so increasing the number of burners will never be a solution to this. If we want a quicker cooking, if we want a fast cooking, we need to take higher intensity burner. I hope this would be helpful for you to understand. Other than that, another factor is there which is called build material quality. This is very important factor again. When generally whatever hobs or cooktops are coming nowadays in the market, they are coming with the countertop of glass. This is tempered glass, guys. So tempered glass, when we use the hob, it gets heated according to as per the time taken while cooking. Okay, due to this fact only, whenever we are done with the cooking, we tend to clean it. So we need to take care about the fact that the cooktop, when it is heated already, we should never clean it with the normal water tap, the cold water tap. It will definitely going to crack at the very same time. So let's take an example, a real-time example. Let's say if I am boiling milk, or if I am making a tea, and when I was trying to pull it off the cooktop, I get it spilled over. So what I will be doing, the very first thing I will be doing it, I will be actually running my tap water and pull any cloth or a wiping cloth. I will actually squeeze it out of the cold water and then wipe it off. This is the wrong practice. This is something which I actually want to let you know. Either clean it with a dry cloth, or you can do it with a hot water, or just let it be there. Okay, let the countertop cool down to the normal temperature and then clean it. Otherwise you will get the glass cracked, that is for sure. Okay, if it is getting hot. Definitely, making a tea will take not more than 5 minutes. It will not make the glass too hot. But if we are cooking for a longer durations, let's say if we are cooking a overall food for a meal, for a one-time meal, it would have taken 1 hour or 2 hour of time for the regular cooking. So it will actually have made a glass top very hot. We need to take care about this fact and use the cooktop accordingly in the right manner, so that it will save us also from any of the accident as well. Let's go ahead to the another very important appliance, that is chimney. It would actually will not be wrong to say that it is a perfect partner actually with the correct cooktop or a hob. So if we say in the long term, we need to select them very, very diligently. We need to take care about how we are selecting the chimney. We should never fall in a trap of basically, while we are getting to the showroom, or we are getting to any of the place where we are actually going through a chimney displays, we should never fall in trap of the aesthetics. Guys, please, the agenda of this call is only to understand how we should choose appliances. Aesthetics, I do agree upon that they should be matching and actually going through with our design harmony. But equally important is that selecting them in the right manner. If they are not helpful, if they are not functional for our kitchen, then even if it is there, they are looking good, they will be of no use. So let us understand how to select the correct chimney. So first of all, the very first factor when we buy a chimney is suction power. So and it is actually equally dependent upon the kitchen dimensions, which is the actual fact. So what is suction power? Suction power is actually the capacity of the motor to absorb particles and odors. These are the only two demands which we actually require from a chimney when we install it. So to absorb particles and odor. How we can calculate the suction power of a chimney? To calculate a suction power of a chimney, this is a very basic formula. We just need to multiply length, width, and height of the room of the kitchen and multiply it by 10. 10 is actually a number of cycles by which we need an air to be purified. Okay. It can be implied to as per the Indian cooking lifestyle. So that is why I have taken it as a 10. So let's take an example by dimension also. If let's say we have a kitchen of 4 meter length of 3 meter width and 2.5 meter high. So its volume is coming out to be 30 cubic meter. Okay. And if we multiply 30 cubic meter by 10, it comes out to be 300 cubic meter. So this is the actual suction power we require for 30 cubic meter of kitchen to exhaust the odor air to odorless air. Basically to exhaust the cooking air. Now to understand it in a much better, in a much detailed way, what are the factors that will be actually affecting this chimney factors while we are going through the chimney exhaustion? Okay, what will be the factors? So as we have already talked about the suction capacity or suction power of the chimney, let's say we have actually concluded for 300 cubic meter for the 30 cubic meter kitchen. So there are three factors basically which will be affecting the suction power of the chimney. That is number of bends, ventilation of the kitchen, and length of the ducts. Let us understand that how it is going to affect the suction capacity. So when we talk about chimney is generally installed above the cooktop. It has to be actually above the cooktop only from 24 inches to 30 inches of distance. The distance between cooktop and chimney should not be more than 30 inches. And the distance I'm talking about is actually the distance of countertop, not the burner distance. Countertop to chimney hood, the distance should not be more than 30 inches. After this, as per our builders are making and we are making our kitchens, we have to have this bend number 1 in every kitchen. We cannot have an option of puncturing out the lantern above the chimney and going directly through the rooftop. Okay, we have to take this first bend. This is bend 1. This is actually affecting chimney exhaustion power a lot because it is right away on the top. This is right on the top. So that is why the chimney suction power gets compromised a lot due to this first bend. After that, the second factor which is actually affecting the exhaustion power of the chimney is this length of the duct. So we are having almost every kitchen is having this such kind of structures that we have to travel complete length of the wall, and after that there could be a utility balcony, and after that there is an exhaustion point which comes into the account. So even for that matter, let's say if after the exhaustion point, if you have another room or another window, so you have to provide, in that case you have to provide another bend number 2 to the pipe in case like you want to face the exhaustion vent up to the sky facing. So you need to provide the second bend. In that sort of case, I have provided this bend number 2. So these sort of bends are actually affecting the suction power of the chimneys a lot. So we need to understand these facts, that for every 10 feet length, like a bend like these factors are affecting the chimney exhaustion power, suction power. So we need to understand that for 30 cubic meter of kitchen, which we discussed in the last slide, we need to have at least 800 suction power of chimney. Okay. Going forward, I will be explaining you what are the kind of chimney filters we are available with and how we can go ahead with them to select and to get more efficiency out of the chimney exhaustion. So when we talk about the chimney filters, we are having 3 kind of filters. There is cassette filter, which is called mesh filter. Also, another is baffle filter, and third one is charcoal filter. So to talk about first two at the prior stage, cassette and mesh filter are basically very soft and very fragile also. They were actually coming in the initial models of the chimney. They are highly effective, no doubt about that, but they are very difficult to clean. When we clean them, they are so fragile that they tends to get dents. Okay, so just to avoid that thing, our innovators have come across with new baffle filter design, which is actually a combination of mesh filter only, but it is having a steel frame around it, which is protecting the mesh to get dents upon. Okay, so they are highly effective, very easy to clean. You can say any household lady can clean them. They are so easy to clean. And to talk about charcoal filter, I will consider it in a next ongoing slides, because it will be making more clearer about the functioning of how they are working actually. So to talk about first ones, what chimney filters are doing actually, we need to understand. So when we cook food in our kitchens, the vapors which are actually generated from the cooking food, they are having oils and particles, okay, along with the water vapors. So the air is contain three kind of things: particles and oils and vapors of water. This is the kind of combination which actually tends to be very sticky. So what these filters used to do, these filters actually accumulate all these three things over them and clears out the clean air out of them. That air is blown out of the exhaust pipe. The same is happening. Now, when we talk about these three filter types, there is another invention which has come across in the market nowadays, which is called filterless and auto clean. I hope this is some of the thing. This is the thing which everybody right now wants to have. Everybody, every lady, every homemaker is actually searching for these kind of thing now, that they want this kind of chimney that is filterless and that is auto cleanable. Guys, let me tell you, filterless and auto clean chimney, first of all, we need to understand what is there, okay? But why is this chimney called auto clean and why is this chimney called filterless? And is it really what the name is suggesting us? Is it really that? So we need to understand that what is happening here. If you see the blue shaded motor here, this blue area is actually a motor and the ring around it is the blower. Okay. So what is happening in this sort of chimney? It is actually creating a kind of cyclone, a kind of tornado above the cooktop. So the airflow gets into circular motion. Okay. As soon as the air is generated, cooking fumes is generated, they generally get sucked up immediately into the chimney. And what is happening internally in the unit of the chimney, the motor is covered with a kind of foil. So when these oil particles and these vapors I have talked about, the particles and the oily vapors, which I talked about in the last slide, they all get stuck on these foil. And when after certain usage of, like, let's say 2 months, 3 months or 6 months, these chimney panel have a notification button which tends you to show the notification reminder that you need to auto clean this chimney. So what happens when you press the button, the foil gets heated and that all the oil which was stuck on that along with the particles, it gets dripped out, flown out to the oil tray. It gets collected into oil tray. And you can throw that oil out and clean the tray and reinstall it. That is the simple function. But in reality, what is happening inside the chimney, this is one part, okay? Second part is, which is actually cannot be taken up by you. So earlier what we used to say, when we were having these sort of filters in the chimneys, we used to clean them manually, okay? But in these sort of chimney, we cannot clean anything other than pressing the button only. That's all. So what is required now? In these cases, we will be requiring a technical visit. A person from the company has to visit these sort of chimneys either in a 3 months up to 6 months in a time, once in a time, and they will be retaining the filters. They will be cleaning out these motor and the foils also for the better efficiency and the correct working culture of the chimney device. Guys, this is highly strongly suggested to you whenever these sort of chimneys are basically responding with the reminders of getting this technical visit required. You have to get this technical visit, okay? Otherwise, these chimney can get damaged also. Because what is happening after using the auto clean feature, the oil vapors are certainly not clean 100%, up to 100%. Okay, they are required to be cleaned manually, but only by the technician. You cannot do that process by your own. That is the main strategy, you can also say, from the company side, that they are actually cutting off your intervention from the device, but you have to call them directly now to clean them up. Okay. After that, the last but not least, this is the ductless chimney. This is, you can say, I actually am very fond of these sort of chimney because these are very, very great innovation in terms of the people who are not having balconies, who are not having service shaft, who are not having any space to get their chimney exhaust out. So these are the ductless chimney, how they are working. So if you remember, I have skipped one of the type of filter, that was charcoal filter. So charcoal filter, what does it do? it basically removes out the odor of the air, the uncleaned air, the impure air. So what is happening? These charcoal filters are installed along with the baffle filter or the mesh filter within these chimneys. So what is happening when the air is being cleaned out in these chimneys, air is thrown out directly from the hood within the kitchen itself. Okay, so to control the odor intensity of the air, these charcoal filters are installed, because what is happening in such kind of chimneys, the air is circulating in this way. I hope you can see the airflow. I have tried to show in that image. So this airflow is actually retaining within the kitchen room itself. So what chimney is doing? Chimney is recycling the air again and again along with the cooking fumes. So in these sort of chimneys, we need to ensure that odor is controlled, odor intensity is controlled. So just to ensure that thing, charcoal filters are introduced. Now let's come to ovens. I think ovens have become an integral part and a very important part of nowadays kitchens. But to make you understand more about that, we have two types of oven. Okay, OTG and microwave. So what is the OTG and what is the microwave? I hope most of the people are there. Could be many of the people who would not have even heard of OTG type of oven, because they were a kind of, you can say, older type version. OTG stands for oven, toaster and griller, and microwaves are what we are having the most common version of oven nowadays. So to understand them in better format, so I have tried to have this with me. So what is microwave oven and OTG oven? Microwave oven are basically used to cook food with the electromagnetic waves. Okay, they are used to cook food and heat food. But when we talk about OTG, they are not using any sort of waves. They are using heating coils, and they are actually heating the food or cooking the food. Microwave ovens are actually very less time consuming, but OTG are time consuming. Yes, definitely they are time consuming. Microwave ovens are actually so because they are having electromagnetic waves. They have complete integrated circuit in them, so they are having pre-programmed menu as well. But OTG used to work over on the scale of time. So we need to send upon like 30 minutes, 15 minutes or 40 minutes for the time. But in microwave, it is pre-programmed. You can just select directly the name of the item and it will be working according to the pre-programmed menu. Microwave oven, it has good food for heating and defrosting. Defrosting is certainly a feature that was never available in the form of OTG. OTG asks you to take out your food in advance before cooking, and then let it come to the room temperature, and then only you can use it. So this is something which OTG was not very good at. But OTG is definitely very much good in baking, especially the cakes. Now let us understand what were the merits and demerits. Okay, so when we talk about microwave as it is using electromagnetic waves only, but OTG is actually using heating coils. So if you can understand from what I'm trying to say, there is a particular treatment to the food that is called surface toasting, which we require generally in pizzas. Okay, generally having a golden layer over the food, that crisp layer over the food. That is something which was actually can be doable only by OTG. It was not possible with microwave. But then what happened? Our scientists actually developed a product which was a combination of both these two. So they developed an oven called convection oven or convection microwave oven. So what was happening in this? In convection oven or convection microwave oven, there is a blower behind. Okay, this blower is blowing very hot air on the food, which is sufficing the requirement of OTG into the microwave. So companies now we were not available with defrosting and heating food in OTG. So that both the ovens have been amalgamated to provide a common unit that is called convection. So what scientists have done, they have taken out electromagnetic waves option also, and they have taken out heating coil option also from the OTG, and they combined both of them too and made a single unit that is called convection. So I hope I am clear with this to you now. And this convection ovens are like, they are saving the time because they are oven microwave oven, they are creating that surface toasting also because they have this blower with a hot air. They are also able to defrost the food because they are working with electromagnetic waves also, and they are also able to heat the food, unlike the OTG was not able to do. So to understand in much more like in a very clearer manner, in a very crisp way, convection over convection microwave oven. So if we see this is a solo. So these solo types ovens are which are not inclusive of OTG. These are only able to heat the food. They can never grill your food. They can definitely not provide you the surface toasting. When we talk about only griller, so this is called a normal OTG one. So they can reheat the food, but not like same as microwave does. And they can grill the food, but they cannot provide this surface toasting, which I tell you about the pizza example. But convection can do all these because this is a combination of microwave as well as OTG. So please don't confuse it with convection. Microwave is the right unit to take. I must say this also to you because you should also take away this thing with you that what is the right option to choose from. So convection microwave oven is the unit which you should take. After that comes the refrigerator, one of the integral part of the kitchen. Every kitchen is requiring this. So when we talk about refrigerator, we have generally we have three sort of type of refrigerator with us. So first is like French door, which is getting popular nowadays due to the aesthetic value. And other one is side by side door, and the next one is the most common one is two door. We need to understand this from the door size also, that we should be having enough space. If we having enough space, then we can plan for two door because it is requiring the maximum space to open the hinge. This is kind of refrigerator is having swing doors. So the door size, the door width is actually 600, almost the same as the overall width of the refrigerator. But these, both the fridges are having lesser width of the shutters. So these sort of factors we need to require to think over. Other than that, the capacity of the refrigerator unit, the cavity capacity, we need to understand the fact that bigger the refrigerator is, bigger it will be to clean also, it will be taking more energy also, and it will be looking more empty also if we are having lesser number of family members. So we should always take into the consideration that let's take an example of 4 family members. For a family of 4 members, kitchen of refrigerator of almost 250 to 300 liters is more than enough. If it is actually not in the city of like where we are having lot of hot summers. We need to take this into consideration as well, that where in which city we are located into. So that according to the climate conditions also we need to decide upon the fact. And another thing which is very important while we talk about refrigerator selection is the freezer part. If we are residing in certain location which is having a lot of summers or a lot of hot weather, we should be taking care into the consideration that we should have a more storage in the freezer unit as well. This is something very important because freezer is the only place which is going to save lot of your food into the frozen matter, in the frozen form. Otherwise it is going to get spoiled due to the hot weather. After that, the mandatory appliance, the last mandatory appliance which we comes along with is the water purifier. So when we talk about water purifier, guys, we have 2 water purifier types only, the regular water filter and the reverse osmosis, that is RO, the very basic, the very common one. This is certainly a very important thing to know, to understand that we are free to get any company to take a survey of TDS value. TDS is the total dissolved solids value in the water content, which is getting supplied from the local corporation to your home. Guys, please take this into account. If your TDS level of water supplied in the normal tap is under 300, that is the excellent water condition to drink. If you are having more than 300 TDS value, up to 900 or let's say 1000, then you should install a RO, reverse osmosis system. Otherwise, if it is under 300 or up to 300, you are never required to install an RO. RO is basically removing all the minerals from your water. And if you have gone through any of the RO unit, any of the RO manufacturers also, you have came across this case that they are already mixing 10% of the regular water and 90% of the purified water, just to make sure that correct amount of minerals are maintained and retained in the drinkable water. So try to understand, if you are not having a water more than 300 level of TDS in your regular water supply, you need not to have any RO unit in your home. But one more important factor also, if you are having less than 150 value of TDS in your regular water supply from the corporation, then also you need to think, because it is a mineral less water. Okay, this is also certainly a very important thing to understand and to take into the account, that if you are having a supply of local municipal corporation is supplying you a water of less than 150 ml of TDS level, then it is also a point of concern. So in nutshell, what I have provided you, if you are having a TDS value of 300 or below, you can go with a regular water purifier. But if you are having a 300 above value TDS, then you should definitely use reverse osmosis. And one more very important thing when we choose water filter, the taste of water. Guys, for retaining or maintaining or improving the taste of water, lot of purifier manufacturers are providing the taste makers, you can say. They are basically water polishing. What they do, they provide you, after the purification process is done, they are actually improving the taste of the water to make it more drinkable, to make it more feasible to drink. It is nowhere related to purification. Taste making is nowhere related to purification. Okay. Now we come to secondary appliances. So when we talk about secondary appliances, there are the three main device appliances which come across into our front. First is instant geyser, second is induction plate, and another one is dishwasher. So what is happening with, now let us discuss that also. So when we talk about instant geyser is a device of almost 3 liters or 4 liters capacity only, and they are very quick with their work. As the name suggests, they are instant. So you can switch them on and just run the tap water through, and they will be providing you a hot water only. So they are very useful in the areas where we have cold weather, or in the kitchens where we have much more oily food, much more oily cooking. So they actually helps us a lot while cleaning the utensils, or while cleaning the kind of utensils which are used to cook foods like woks and like griddles. They are very useful while cleaning them. Another device which is called induction plate. This is something very important to understand, guys. Induction plate is not a device which is going to take place of cooktop or a hob in Indian cooking, in Indian kitchen at least. Indian cuisine requires flame cooking. We require chapatis to cook on. We require a lot of foods like in the manner which requires direct flaming on the food. We require a lot of food which are required to be roasted. So for that, these type of purposes cannot be done on induction. Just take it into account. You can take induction as an additional appliance in your kitchen, just to make your work more quicker, other than ovens and all. But you cannot replace it completely. This is certainly a very important factor to understand. After this comes a dishwasher. Dishwasher are also becoming an integral part of the requirement of today's kitchens, just because our most of the family members nowadays are working, so they also need, and really it is really a horrible fact that our maids are so much attitude taking also, so they are really not available on daily basis, and when they want to go to their leaves, so they will be. So we need to understand this fact also. Dishwashers are really a superheroes of the kitchen. They can be. But one more factor to understand here also with the dishwashers. So dishwashers are, as the name suggests, they are only dishwasher. They are not utensil washer. Just keep this in account. As per the Indian cuisine, as per the Indian lifestyle, as per the Indian cooking style, we need woks. We need a lot of oily cookings. We have lots of festival to celebrate, okay, around the year. So these kind of utensils and those kind of cooking utensils cannot be cleaned by dishwasher alone. They have to be scrubbed through. Okay, we need to scrub them first of all through the proper detergent, and then only after cleaning them thoroughly, not rinsing them. Dishwasher can be used only to rinse those kind of appliances, those kind of utensils. Okay, so let's keep this into the account that dishwashers are only supposed to clean dishes. They are not going to clean your utensils, or you need to, if you want to get your utensils clean, you need to scrub them off first and then you need to put them into the dishwasher. I hope I'm clear with this point. Another very important and very integral part of the kitchen is food processor. So what is food processor basically? Guys, we have lots of requirement in the kitchen like chopping, blending, grating, whipping. So there are lots of requirements. So there used to do, when I was a kid, I used to see lot of appliances, lot of things. There are a lot of manual devices actually, rather I should say appliance, they were devices. So my mother used to cook food with a lot of these manual devices. Like she will be having a device which was used to whip curd to make lassi sort of things. Okay, and while she was using grater to grate foods, to grate any of the raw food which is required to be stuffed into the paranthas and sort of things. So these sort of all these habits, also sort of these lifestyle actually was studied over, thought over, and then has been implicated and implemented into a single innovation which is called food processor. They are really a very nice innovation. I must say this, but we should always be careful by choosing them. They can be a real hero of the kitchen, but also to understand they should not be that much complex and that much technical that a lady should be feeling always scared of to use them, or she will be feeling scared of cleaning them. That it has so many attachments, it has so many complications, it has so many parts to attach first and to detach them and then to clean them. So please be careful, please be intellectual while choosing them. Take her consideration into account, understand from her also. So as we are already going through with the family member of 4 example, I will take again this example here. Let's suppose if she needs to chop a vegetable for family member of 4 only, then why we will be requiring a food processor which is having almost a 15 or 16 components to combine, and after that she will be not feeling good enough to clean 15-16 components only for 4 family members food. Okay, it will be much more easier for her to grate it like on a very regular, very basic grater. So just keep these sort of things into the account. These are very critical and depends upon, like, we need to think over them. So this is the relation. This slide will provide you the clarity about like how the different appliances are correlated with each other and how should we place them in the kitchen to take maximum efficiency out of our kitchen. So this is the kitchen working triangle. I hope most of you are very familiar with this sort of illustration. So I have actually used this to provide you a useful clarity over the relation between how these appliances are also correlated and synchronized and required to be amalgamated through this working triangle. So what happens when we studied about this working triangle? Let's see some implementation also of the working triangle. So let us take the example. As we have taken this example in the parallel kitchen, there are the 3 important pillars of the working triangle, that is cooktop or hob, sink and the refrigerator. So all these 3 things are required to be arranged very specifically into the correct manner to take the maximum functionality out of the kitchen space. And trust me, these are the 3 appliances, 3 workstations, 3 points which are mostly visited by a kitchen performer at a time while she is cooking. So this is first example where this refrigerator and sink are in the same line and hob is in the another line. Just because to ensure that it is not actually having any disturbance in between, that is why this has been done in that manner. So working triangle, what the working triangle means actually? Working triangle is a space, a dedicated space of traveling in between these 3 members. It should never be distracted. Nothing can be placed in between these ways. Okay, to make it more precise. So this is another example. And this is for your reference. I think this could be helpful for you always, because see, this is actually describing you about the approximate distance you should consider while considering a working triangle. So this is the approximate distance of, let's say, from fridge to hob, it should be 4 feet to 9 feet. And from sink to hob, it should be 4 feet to 7 feet. And from sink to refrigerator, it should be 4 feet to 7 feet. These are the standard dimensions as per the majority of kitchens which are being made in our country. You can follow this and it will be quite helpful. After that, we comes to the brand selection part. So what is happening on the brand selection? This is certainly a very, very important factor and very important to understand how we should select the brand. Selecting a correct brand is very crucial, very important. Let's say if you have got appliances of your choice and it stopped working after 6 months, and now you require after sale support and it is not working, it is not available in the city you are living in, it is of no use. So we need to understand it. We need to also take this factor into the consideration almost every time while we are purchasing any of the appliance. So what does this mean? So when your service inquiry goes to after sale service, what is the turnaround time from them? Are they available with the spare part services, or they are available with the repair services, or they are available with the on-site support? These are the three types of services which are required for every product or any of the product. You should always take into the consideration. You can ask the seller directly if where is the service center, or you can check out Google reviews nowadays that how is the service support of the particular appliances, how that particular manufacturer is providing the support from, and are the customers happy with the resolutions provided, or what if the company is not providing the solutions, how company is accommodating those requests, how the manufacturer are providing the resolution to the customers in the term of, like, are they replacing the material product, or are they basically refunding the customers, or they are taking unacceptable timelines for the product to be delivered again. So these sort of factors are very crucial and very important for us to understand before taking all these appliances selection into the consideration. I hope I was helpful to you, and I have tried this thing to provide you the clarity about that how this will be helpful to selecting the right appliance for your kitchen.
A bit of great knowledge sharing. Thank you for all of it. Like before I could just talk, before I all the questions would be taken over by Abhinav. Whatever is placed on the chat box, I would just like to talk about an offer to all of y'all. I hope this was a great learning session, and I truly enjoyed Abhinav today. It was great learning. I didn't know so many things, and it was all very well explained. So all the queries, whatever is there in the chat box, it will be answered shortly by Abhinav. And going forward, I would like to thank all the customers who have made Bonito Designs as the best interior design brand of 2020. So as you can see on your screen, you can see a glimpse of Mr. Sharma's turquoise themed dream home designed by Bonito Designs. So his home was basically inspired by his first turquoise scooter. So now what you would like your home to say? So come meet our design expert to make your dream into reality. We also do have an exclusive offer for a limited period where you could avail offers worth up to rupees 1.5 lakhs. And we are also running an offer currently on designer wall panels, which are having around 215 textures and patterns from which you can choose from. So I'll place the offer image on the right-hand side of your screen. To know more about the offer, you can click on that. I hope you can see it on your screen. I can see so many questions popping up. So yes, Abhinav, I would request you to kindly please come back onto the screen. Let's answer all the queries. And I see a lot of thank yous for Abhinav, for a brilliant session today, where it was a great learning for all of us. Like we were not aware of a lot of things. So taking the question, I'll just go from top to bottom. So Shah is asking, sir, you covered so many subjects and every sentence was useful. I hope you will take another session soon. So Abhinav, yes, we are booking you for another session of Bonito Discovery.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes. So we have Audio disappeared. Kanchana, I hope you're audible to you right now. Okay. Nikita is asking, okay, I think there's just like wonders of thank you for Abhinav for a great session today, excellent session. I would just like to take a question which Ganesh Krishna has taken, who has written. What type of chimney filters should we use? I hope Ganesh, you could be more elaborate on, because he's already explained the various kinds of chimney. But yeah, Abhinav, to just answer that question, would you suggest for a filtered chimney or an unfiltered chimney? What would you suggest?
Thanks a lot, Grishma. So I'm glad that my session was helpful for all of you. So to answer Ganesh Krishna's question, the most prominent, the most comfortable chimney filter which we are using right now is Baffle filter. That is the very convenient filter to be used. And if you cannot clean the filter by yourself, then you should definitely go with the auto clean filterless chimney.
Okay, thank you for that. I hope Ganesh, we have answered your question. So Rima is asking us, is stainless steel job better than the glass? Sorry, hob better than the glass hob? Which one do you suggest, Abhinav?
Grishma, can you please repeat your question?
Yeah. So Rima is asking, is it better to use a stainless steel hob or a glass hob? Because you said glass hob could crack gradually after a point of time.
I never meant that glass hob is not good. Glass hob is equally good. I'm just trying to say that use it in the right way. So whenever you are cooking food for a long time, let's say 30 minutes or an hour, the top gets heated. Okay, so it should not be cleaned up with the cold water, the running tap water. Either you keep a hot water to clean it, or you should use dry cloth. You should never use, like, it is very natural with all of us. Whenever we are getting any food spilling over the cooktop, we tend to run to the tap and take a splash of water and then splash it right away, right then.
Right.
That is causing a crack of the glass. This should not be happening. Just keep a dry cloth with you. That is a very basic practice you can actually practice with. And whenever the food is spilling over, try to keep the dry cloth only. That will be helpful.
So you prefer that, you do not have an option.
Definitely easy to clean.
Easy to clean is glass, but yes, steel also has its advantage. Look-wise, it's again the glass. But at the end, what would you rate it for? Do you go for a stainless or would you go for a glass? What would be your recommendation?
If I consider for myself only as a cook, so I will definitely going for a glass, because glass is less absorbing. Glass tends to have lesser number of fingerprints also as compared to steel.
Okay.
So steel is definitely steel is a good option, but steel is an older version of cooktop. So definitely for a new home, I would suggest to go for a glass top only.
Okay. So we have one more question from Shashank, who's asking us, which is the economical brand that we can select for hob and chimney for a 9x9 kitchen? Not going on the size of the kitchen, but I think we all have various, our choices of the kinds of kitchen and the hob which we would like. But yeah, to mention a few, you could, Abhinav, you could mention a few of the...
I think that would be not a good answer to, in fact, not a good answer to this on this platform, because I am not actually doing this as for any promotion of any brand. So to be more precise, I would rather suggest you to search for, first of all, the correct product for your kitchen. Okay, that is what the agenda we were performing over. That first of all, you need to understand what is the right product for a kitchen, then only goes for the pricing part.
Yeah, I agree with you, Abhinav. So this platform is basically where we share knowledge, but we are not promoting any of the brands. So yes, I agree with Abhinav. So moving on.
Second point, Shashank, for you also to keep consideration in the after sale service.
Okay.
That is also very important.
Yeah, very true about it. Being in Bangalore, it's very true. So Kanchana is asking, brass burner is better than the other. I think you did answer that, Abhinav, during your presentation. But yeah, if you would like to answer once more, please.
So they see, Kanchana, if I'm not pronouncing it wrong. So Kanchana, see, burners are always made in the kind of metal which are very heat absorbing. They are not able to get damaged through the general heat of the temperature. Okay. Very high temperatures. So definitely brass is a very good option. Tungsten is also a material which is being used in certain companies, but that will cost you a lot to take into consideration of only the burner point. So I will suggest brass because it is very easier to clean as well. And they are very much common as well. But for even if you're going for tungsten sort of materials, they will be very difficult for you to resource in the after sales phase. So I would suggest you to go with brass burners only.
Okay, thank you for that, Abhinav. So we have Shah who's asking us a very interesting question. I think most of us would have this doubt. So, we being Indians, normally we come across open kitchens, and Indian cooking is being very, very aromatic. So will the chimneys actually take care of the smell completely around your house? Like, what would you say for that, Abhinav?
So if you remember, Shah, I discussed about charcoal filters also. So charcoal filters are the one which are combined with the regular filter. If your chimney is having a normal baffle filter, it can combine with charcoal filter also, and charcoal filter will take care of the odors of the purified air. And also along with that, so there are two factors more which will be coming along here. Other than the charcoal filter, if your chimney is ductless or not. If you are taking ductless chimney in a bigger kitchen, then it will be a point of concern, because in ductless chimney there is a recycling of the same air. Okay, it is not getting out of the space, it is getting recycled only. So you need to take care of the account that charcoal filter should be installed in the chimney, whichsoever chimney you choose. And other than that, you should not go ahead with ductless chimney.
Okay, I hope Mr. Shah, we have answered your query. So we have Nikita who's asking us, I think most of them would have this query, is the size of hob and the chimney, should it be the same? Ideally, should it be the same? I think most of them would have this query.
So to be more precise, when you go to any of the vendor or any of the showroom, you will be looking at, let's say if you have gone for a showroom to buy a hob. So they will be trying to sell you a combination instead. Okay, they will be telling you that, ma'am, please pay 3,000 or 4,000 more and you will be getting a chimney free within that cost only.
Correct, exactly.
So this is a very regular practice of the selling people. So to understand this question more precisely, you should be taking at least 50 mm additional size of the hob. Let's say your hob is 700 mm, you should take a chimney hood of 750 mm for that. It is ideal. But equal size can also work.
Okay, thanks Abhinav for that. We have a few more queries. Rima is asking, how do I select the size of a hob which is 600 centimeter versus 900 centimeter? I
could not get the question, Rima. I'm so sorry.
Rima, I think you have to be a little more precise on taking the question for us, for a better understanding. If you could please, yeah. So we have Yashwant who's asking us, using chimney, what is the possibility of oil droplets falling in the cooktop area and how to prevent? Good question.
I would really like to know the name of the person first.
That's Yashwant.
Okay. Thanks, Yashwant, for bringing this question to us in this session. This is really a very important question and really a dangerous question as equally. Okay. So why this situation comes that oil start actually dripping out? So it is because the filter of the chimneys are completely full. They are exhausted. They cannot absorb more oil now. That is why the oil which is going into the filter, it is not getting absorbed, and the previous accumulated oil is getting dripped into the cooking. So you should definitely, if it is happening in your kitchen or any of your knowns one, please rush to the chimney and get it cleaned right away.
Okay, thank you for that. So we have Dr. Ramana was asking us, which is a better chimney, I suppose. I think he's asking us, is AutoClean filterless chimney good to buy with every 3-month service? And the second question is, which one is better, whether countertop or a hob?
Okay, so first of all, I will answer this question. I think Dr. Rameshwari has asked, AutoClean filterless chimney good to buy with every 3-month service. Yeah, if you can buy this chimney. If you are okay with the every 3 months routine cycle. So Dr. Rameshwari, what is happening here? AutoClean chimney features gets activated upon the cooking cycle of yours, cooking lifestyle of yours. So if you are cooking lot of oily foods, it may ask for the technician visit even within 30 to 45 days also. It is not at all a cycle fixed in the machine that it will be going to ask you every 90 days only. it will be asking you only as per the oil intensity which has been accumulated on the motor.
Okay, I think we've answered that. One more question is, Dr. Ramanna is asking us, which is better, whether countertop or hob?
This is completely dependent upon your cooking style only. Again, as I already said, so if we are having a more intensity, more frequency of spilling our food, or you can say there are some of the ladies, we are always like, see, a homemaker is always engaged into a lot of activities while cooking the food. Okay, so might be a possibility that there are two children also playing at the back end. They are also calling at the very same time. So due to these certain kind of involvements, food tends to spill over. Okay, so in those such cases, you should always go ahead with cooktop because it is very easier to clean. It is having proper ventilation beneath also, and it is the very important factor is they are portable. You can also shift them up to 6 inches, up to 12 inches even, depending upon the length of the gas pipeline. So they are also very easy to use in that manner. Hob are definitely aesthetically much more appealing, but they are difficult to clean in the long term.
Thank you for that, Abhinav. So we have one more question from Kajal, who is asking us, what's your call on ceiling mounted chimney? Is it effective than the regular ones?
So Kajal, if you could hear to what I have already provided you in terms of the elaboration, I have not taken the type of models, but I have taken the type of filters. You should actually consider the type of correct filter to be taken into the account. You can use Baffle filter as with the charcoal filter. Okay, and the cassette, this is called the cassette chimney. So it should be having a duct. It should not be a ductless. These are some of the very important factors, and please never try to take filterless ductless chimney in this cassette walai case.
Okay, thank you for that. See, I think I missed Sai Kiran's question. I think it's popping like 2-3 times. Sorry, Sai Kiran, for that. Which countertop is better to have, granite or quartz? I know it's away from the topic what we did today, but I would like you, Abhinav, to answer that.
It is actually related to kitchen. That's why it has come up. So, yes. Sai Kiran, granite is actually a natural material, but quartz is a man-made material. Both are equally great, and granite tends to have, you can say, absorption level. Let's suppose if you have spilled over oil of the pickle and the granite is in lighter shade, there might be the chances that it can absorb the stain, but there would be lesser chances that a quartz will be absorbing that stain, because quartz are treated with lot of resins and they are almost zero, negligible absorbent. So they will not be absorbing the stains. Other than that, there is no issue with quartz. Also, people tends to think like that quartz are having lesser strength than granites and all. It is not like that. Providing a correct support over the modular unit and beneath the stone is the correct procedure. If you are providing correct stone under the, basically we need to sandwich a layer of ply in between stone and the modular unit. If it is done correctly, then you can go ahead with any.
Okay, I hope, Mr. Saib, that we have answered your query. We have Shashank who is asking us, what should be the ideal distance to be considered after the first 90-degree bend for chimney? How many bends can be used? Do we recommend any particular threshold on bends? I think it's regarding the chimney's bending, you have given
Shashank, this is regarding the exhaust pipe you are asking about, in which I have also shared one of the slide which is having the elaboration on number of bends showing. So you can consider tentatively 100 cubic suction power for one single bend. That will be a lot more easier to you to understand. Like for every single bend which is coming through in the overall journey of the exhaust pipe, you can consider 100 additional suction power.
Okay, thank you for that. Just scrolling down more. If you have more queries, kindly let us know. Okay, again, Sai Kiran is asking, is quartz heat resistant?
Yes, definitely.
Granite and quartz, yeah.
Yes, it is heat resistant.
Okay, Shashank says, thanks, Abhinav. I'm planning one for my own house. Sure, Shashank. I hope we have been a great help for you with all the queries that we have answered for you. Scrolling down, if I've missed any, I'm just checking, just scrolling down. Please let us know if you have any more queries. Please place it on the chat box. We are here to answer all your queries. Just scrolling down for more. Okay. I think it's just thank yous and thank yous. I think we have taken most of the queries, to be very honest to you all. Okay, one question by Ramanna. Whether chimney can be used straight without vents. They're talking about the duct.
Dr. Ramanna, I also discussed the same thing. I think we never have an option kind of that then where we can actually straight away puncture the RCC slab and have the exhaust pipe over the rooftop. It is rarest, I think. If it is possible, then it is definitely going to provide a very good output, but we need to take care about rain also. Even if the exhaust end is facing the sky, then it will be facing the rainwater also. So we cannot consider that. We will have to have at least one band in any of the case. Even if your balcony or exhaust end is behind the chimney wall, even then you will be having a one band.
Okay, I hope we were of great help. Shashank is asking us, how can I connect with you, Abhinav? So Shashank, if you have to meet a design expert, you will have to visit our office, Bonito Design at HSR. So you'll find Mr. Abhinav Gupta over there. He's our design expert. So Dr. Rameshwari is asking us one more query. Is it good to buy a separate OTG if we have a convection microwave oven? What would you say for this, Abhinav?
So Dr. Rameshwari, see, I have already described it. Separate OTG will be helping you out definitely with oven toasting and grilling, but it will not be helping you out with reheating and defrosting. If you are requiring two separate units for defrosting and toasting and grilling all together, so you can definitely have a separate OTG with that. Otherwise, if you have convection microwave oven, it will be doing all the things which you can expect from OTG.
Okay. So thank you for that. I hope we have answered all your queries. I think we have taken most of the questions. A lot of people say that today's session was of great help. If you are building their own houses, they've started. So if you guys are looking out at getting your interiors done, so Bonito Designs is right here for you to help you. We have a lot more design experts like Abhinav Gupta with us. To get in contact with Abhinav Gupta, kindly visit Bonito Designs. He will be there for you to help out with all your queries. I think we can close for today as we have answered most of the query. If you have any suggestions that you would like us to take the webinar on, kindly place it on the chat box. We will take it to consideration. If you have any more further queries into the subject that we spoke today regarding the appliances for the kitchen, we are here for the next 5 to 10 minutes. We will answer your queries. This is me, Grishma Banguera, and that is Abhinav Gupta here out for you. Thanking all of you all today for attending our session. And yes, Abhinav, on the demand of public, we will surely be having you on our next Bonito Discover.
Thank you. It was helpful.
Signing off for today, here is Grishma, and that's Abhinav for all of y'all. And not to forget, next week on a Saturday, same time, 4 p.m., we also do have another session on the various types of ceilings for home, which will be taken by our interior designer, Kirtana. The link to register for the particular webinar, we will be sharing it on your SMS. So yes, hope to see all of y'all next weekend at 4 p.m. That's a Saturday, 16th. Yeah. Signing off here to all of y'all. Bye-bye. See ya. Happy weekend.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Divya and I'm designer by profession, and welcome to my house. So being a millennial, I always thought that I will own a house, but also I always thought that it should not be very heavy. Like, I wanted my house to display in a lot of forms like textures, patterns, colors. If you see foyer area, we have only one bench and we have a big mirror and we have a very pretty wallpaper. So if you see that wallpaper, it's not a typical traditional wallpaper. It's very trendy. Being a designer, I always think that I am at my best, so I always want a mirror when I go out. This space actually is described for a party place, and we sit on the couch. Some people sit on the carpet, and we have a movie night. We have popcorns coming. So this place is very special for me. So in kitchen, if you see, we were already being given black tiles, and it was a big dilemma that what kind of bottom you would use that it doesn't look much heavy. I have seen people have used dark bottoms and tops too, which makes the kitchen shrink. So that's the reason I chose almond pink for the bottom and top with white color. We wanted something which is premium, and Bonito is actually premium, is in a very affordable rate. So let's go to the first room. When you see the wallpapers and then when you see the customized wardrobe, that was being personalized, and the best part about room is the customized aristocrat wardrobe, which we got it made from Bonito, and it is amazing. We found some inspirations and we gave it to Bonito, and they said yes, we can do it, and we were so excited. And when it came up, it was so pretty. So my favorite part is the master bedroom, where you can see a very pastel pink accent wall with straight lines. I love straight lines, I don't know why. And also the wardrobes are very different. It's contemporary and modern and traditional at the same time. The best part about that room is we have a lounge area where we sit and we have a cup of coffee or read a book. So that room is my favorite space. I mean, if I want my me time, I go to that room and I chill for a long time. We got a lot of furniture through Bonito. So Bonito gave us some 10 to 15% discounts on Urban Ladder, Pepper Fry and Wooden Street. And these are the only brands I was looking for. I would definitely recommend it to any of my friends, because I know the experience was really nice and seamless, especially in this pandemic times. So it's literally 10 on 10 from my side to Bonito.